All right, welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies inspired it. And today on the show, it is one of our monthly trailer roundup episodes. We are looking ahead to the month of August 2022 and 10 movies that are coming out this month. And we will do little mini puzzle pieces conversations just based off the trailers. And joining me, as always, for these mini trailer episodes is Jason Harris from Awesome Movie Year. We have a great conversation talking about a bunch of exciting looking movies. Before we get to it, first of all, of course, I want to remind you, as always, make sure you're subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on social media at Piecing Pod. But also, I want to take a look back at the movies we talked about in July here on the podcast and some of your puzzle pieces that you sent in to us. This is something we've been doing the last few months, and I really want to keep doing this. So anytime you hear an episode of Piecing It Together and you've got some ideas for puzzle pieces that we didn't bring up, send them my way and I'll read them on the next trailers episode when we look back at the previous month's films. And so for July, we had 4 main numbered episodes and got a few listener puzzle pieces here. So starting out was Thor Love and Thunder. That was the most recent one. We have from frequent Piecing It Together guest Joe Black. We have Meteor Man, which I think I could see that for sure. And Shaun from Sivako Road to Avatar podcast said Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which I've never actually seen, but I know what he's talking about. And yeah, I could totally see fitting that one in there as well. And by the way, check out that podcast, Sivako Road to Avatar, because I was on there this month talking about directors who maybe could fill in for James Cameron if he really decides not to direct the final 2 Avatar movies, although we all know he's probably going to end up directing them anyway. But yeah, check out that conversation. It was a fun one over there on Sivako Road to Avatar. So the next one was actually a mini episode, the Bob's Burgers movie, but Joe Black again sent in a listener puzzle piece, and it is Stella, the TV series of Stella with David Wayne and Michael Ian Black and Michael Showalter, episode 9, Vegetables, where they grow their own vegetables. I love that Joe sent in a Stella puzzle piece. It's amazing. And of course, David Wayne did voice the bad guy, spoiler alert, in the Bob's Burgers movie. So, you know, that fits there. Next up was Uncharted, our long lost Uncharted episode on the video game turned movie. And Joe Black again sent in Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, which I know Joe is a supporter of that movie. I don't remember liking it very much. You know, globe-trotting adventure type movies. I mean, you could kind of pick one of many, and I suppose the Charlie's Angels movies would fit the bill. So sure, why not, Joe? Our last listener puzzle piece, again, Joe Black. He sends in the puzzle pieces. If you send in your puzzle pieces, I will read them, but otherwise, we got Joe to send them in. This is actually a really good one. For Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, he sent in Rocket Man. No, not the Elton John biopic, but the 1997 comedy starring Harlan Williams, which I completely forgot about, but is perfect. And I kind of want to rewatch that. I know it didn't really get good reviews at the time, but I'm sure I must have loved it. I used to love Harlan Williams, and I got to go back and rewatch that one of these days. Great pick there. So those are our listener puzzle pieces. Again, send in your pieces next month and I will read them. Let's talk about some August 2022 trailers. All right, we got Jason Harris with us today to talk about some trailers. Jason, how's it going?
What? It's so hot out here. The climate apocalypse is upon us, Dave, but we have these movies to keep us inside and nice and cold so we can ignore the world is going to literal, it seems maybe literal hell type fire and everything.
Pretty much. Yeah, as long as we get to stay indoors, I don't care what these movies look like. I just want to watch them and stay inside and forget about everything. I completely agree with you, Jason. Let's, before we get to our August trailers, look back at the month of July like we always do, looking back at what we covered last month. And by the way, in preparation for this, I just realized I've seen one of these movies from last month. Maybe you did a little better than me. We'll see.
I probably did, but I think that's in a way speaking to July as these kind of doldrum that we're used to in the summer. But then we get to August this coming month and it was like, whoa, everything looks good. I'm surprised.
There's a lot in August, and we'll talk about this later, but a lot of it is in that first, like, August 5th weekend, but we'll get to that in a minute. But The Sea Beast, I think you did watch this, didn't you?
Yeah, I watched The Sea Beast. It's fun. I didn't love it. It's about 20 minutes too long. The animation's good. It's your typical, pirates are thinking they're doing right and then learn from their mistakes, and a little girl shows them the right way. There's nothing really unique about it. It's an easy way to pass the time. It's fine.
All right. Yeah, my dad actually watched it. He liked it. But I didn't get to that one. Take the Night, I was almost going to rent, but then I decided to go with some 80s action movies instead. Did you watch that?
No, but interestingly enough, mentioning your dad, one time I was in a public restroom with him and he walked up to a urinal and he said to me, "Want to see The Sea Beast?" Your dad loves showing his penis to people, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Hey, come to Rax Tracks Rick's Rax Records. You can see my dong and buy an Old Temptations record.
Wonderful. Just wonderful. Bezos was a movie that I wasn't sure was actually happening last month, and I still don't know if it actually came out. It's one of these weird, like, under the radar movies that nobody really talked about, even though it's about one of the most powerful people in the world. But yeah, I don't know if it even came out. Did you see anything about this?
No, but speaking about coming out, one time I was at the bus stop with your dad, and he was in this trench coat. Guess what came out there?
Maybe you can make a fart joke about our next one, Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. Have you ever heard my dad fart?
No, that's ridiculous, Dave. That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
I didn't see it. Yeah. It didn't get good reviews. We all love Blazing Saddles. This seems unnecessary.
Absolutely. Where the Crawdads Sing. I don't know. It's getting fairly mixed reviews. It looked okay, but I didn't get to it. Did you?
I think that's one that, maybe in the fall on a cold day, you just sit and watch and like, all right, we'll see what's up.
That's the definition of a watch at home movie. Like, you know me, I watch anything in the theater. Like, I always want to watch things in the theater first. That one really doesn't seem like it matters. Home would be fine. Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris is next. Is that one about somebody in your family, Jason?
I would like that to. I wish it was Jason Harris Goes to Paris. So
that would be nice.
That would be a good movie.
I'd watch that movie.
Yeah. No, I didn't. A lot of these they're theatrical, which is cool that we're having that, but we don't have access to them. I feel like.
Yeah, that did open here, but yeah, no, it's not a movie that it's a weird movie to go like only theatrical. You're right, but yeah, I don't know. It'll probably be on streaming in 30 days or something.
It feels like Peacock will have it in a minute or something.
Yeah, exactly. Don't Make Me Go. That is out. Another one I was almost gonna watch. I had it right there on my screen on Prime, and I just didn't hit play. Did you see? I know we both like Hannah Marks.
Yeah, I mean that's one I'd like to watch still. That's probably of the ones I haven't seen.
Yeah, for sure.
That's probably top. So
The Gray Man, of course, Netflix's gigantic $200 million blockbuster that nobody seems to have watched, but it is getting a sequel and a spinoff. So apparently somebody watched it, but I did not. Did you watch it?
No, because I was really excited, and then all you guys said, "Don't be excited about it," and that bothered me. So I watched. Yeah. I'll tell you what I watched, Dave. I watched the Bear on Hulu. Did you watch The Bear?
I didn't watch The Bear, and I'm probably not going to watch The Bear, but I mean, it is a completely different service and different genre. And
I mean, it's 8 episodes. It's fast. It tells a great story. It's got, some really good actors, including John Bernthal, who we'll talk about in this episode. And it's like, why am I going to watch The Gray Man when The Bear is out there just crushing it? It's the golden age of television, of limited series. So if I love movies, but you gotta live up to The Bear is what I'm saying.
Maybe The Bear should get an expanded universe, not The Gray Man.
Yes, that's good. That's a good idea.
Yeah, all right. The movie that I did watch from the month of July is Jordan Peele's Nope, which I absolutely loved, and I'll be recording a Piecing It Together episode on later today at the time of this recording. You didn't get to it yet, right?
I'm very excited. I'm happy you loved it. I'm excited. That's obviously what I'll see.
Vengeance was the last one we talked about last month with BJ Novak as a podcaster, and I'm hoping to see this weekend. It looks good. It's getting fairly mixed reviews, but I still think it looks good.
Yeah, I want to see it too, but I'll tell you what I don't want to see. Your dad outside my window flashing me.
You could have at least tied it into Vengeance.
I'm sure you could edit all of this stuff out for all I care.
Let's move on to some August movies, starting off with, I feel like the big one. It's called Bullet Train. It'll be in theaters on August 5th. It's from David Leitch, who directed Deadpool 2 and Atomic Blonde, and also had a hand in the John Wick movies and tons of other action movies. Stars Brad Pitt. It's this super neon colored action movie set on a train with a totally stacked supporting cast. And I don't know. I don't think this trailer looks very good. So many parts.
I disagree.
You disagree? Yeah, there's so much to it that should work. And I watched this trailer and I'm just like, I'm worried about this movie. I don't know. I want it to be good for sure, though. It's got so much that I like. I don't know about this trailer.
I love the colors that you mentioned. They really pop. The design looks awesome. I actually laughed in the trailer when Brad Pitt throws the water bottle at the guy. You know, that's fun.
Yeah.
And like you said, good actors in it. I mean, Atomic Blonde, people love that movie. And Brad Pitt is not, he's not a guy who just takes any role, right? So there's something to it. It looks good to me. I also like the usage of the Japanese version of Staying Alive in the trailer right there by the Bee Gees.
That was cool. So, that was cute.
So, look, Snowpiercer is the first action train movie that I like to think of in the last decade, in telling an original tale. I mean, I guess you could go with other things too, that Mission Impossible one, but this looks like it's more stylized, like that amazing sequence in Snowpiercer. And then, what's funny, before I knew it was David Leitch, I was like, is this Guy Ritchie's new movie? Right? This feels very, and he and Brad Pitt have a working relationship. So you can just pick, I guess we'll pick Snatch because those two have that. And then there's that whole element of kung fu training or karate training. I don't know exactly what it is. Martial arts training, let's call it. That felt very, again, very stylized and very Kill Bill Volume 1 to me. So, I mean, that's not bad. You got Bong, you got Tarantino, and you got Guy Ritchie. Those were the influences that I picked. So I'm excited for it.
No, those are great influences to include, and I did think a little bit of Kill Bill as well. Also, before I realized, I knew he had directed a lot of big action movies, but before I realized Atomic Blonde is one of them, I had that on my list just because, big action with the whole neon look to it. Also, if you remember, a year ago, there was a whole bunch of fight scenes on buses. Shang-Chi and Nobody were two of them. I think there was like one or two others. It was like a thing. We talked about it on these trailer episodes.
Not only do I remember it, I put it as one of my moments at the 3 moments of the year at the year-end episode.
Absolutely. So this continues that moment, and so I had that as a piece. And then, like you said, there's other action on bus or train type movies. Unstoppable with Denzel Washington, The Commuter with Liam Neeson. It's kind of a thing in action movies. It's one of the many places you would want to see action unfold like this. So I'm hopeful for it. I didn't, maybe it's partially that they show this trailer before every single movie you see at the movies lately, and I'm just kind of burnt out on it, but I'm hopeful for it.
I mean, I haven't seen it as much as you, but I'm like, dude, like give me a popcorn and a soda and let's go have some fun.
Absolutely. So also on August 5th in theaters, and then a couple of weeks later on August 16th on VOD is Sharp Stick, which is the return of Lena Dunham, who hasn't done much lately. But she wrote and directed this drama comedy about a young, inexperienced girl who's having this messy affair with a married man. Also stars John Bernthal, like you said, we'd be talking about him. Taylor Page, who was in Zola last year. It looks pretty good. I know people really do not like Lena Dunham, but it looks good.
It does look good. And I think we've probably said it, but like, how long until John Bernthal gets an Oscar? He's such a good actor, right? Like
He's
he's
great.
right. You got to just put the money on him at some point in time. I know I get the backlash on Lena Dunham. I watched all, I like Tiny Furniture, her debut feature. I watched all 6 seasons of Girls, which were either glorious or tragic, depending on the season. They were either great or
Sure.
just horrible. This looks really good. I mean, I think time away, who knows? Who knows? I think, but the idea of like, she's this ultra libtard who just expresses everything and everyone's like, hey man, we don't need to know all this stuff about you, right? Like I get it, but
Yeah.
let's just judge this as what it looks like it is, and it looks good. The trailer looks good, right? So
Yeah.
um got Jennifer Jason Leigh as this kind of weird mother character who reveals too much, which brought me right back to Margot at the Wedding, which was we covered on Awesome Movie Year as Josh's pick. Obviously, another one that we covered, I think, from that same year, 2007, Juno, where there's almost
Sure.
that kind of affair happening. And then I picked a very cool movie that I highly recommend, The Diary of a Teenage Girl. Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah, back when it first came out. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely one of those movies where, young or a teenager like 13 almost is trying to act much older and gets in over her head. So good movie though. That's a good movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Margot at the Wedding, that's a good one. I hadn't thought of that, but that definitely I think could be a fit here. Juno was on my list, definitely. Also, I mean, even though it's cheap, you got to include girls. I think, it continues that kind of messy love life of young women. But then also I had Banana Split talking about Hannah Marks. Just that kind of raw and raunchy female driven relationship comedy, and it's such a great example of that.
Dave, did you feel like there was going to be a revenge element in this?
I mean, maybe. I mean, especially with the title, like that kind of could lead you towards thinking that too. Like there's going to be some kind of getting back at somebody, you know?
Yeah,
So it's hard to say. I'd be interested to see this one. I definitely want to see it. Our next one, another movie with like real young people energy. I feel very old lately. Bodies, 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 an A24 film coming to theaters on August 5th from director Helena Regin, who was an actress in a lot of stuff, but apparently only directed one other movie called Instinct, which I didn't see. But it's about a party game at a mansion full of all these young people: Pete Davidson, Maria Bakalova, Rachel Sennett, a bunch of other people as well. And it turns into this whole murder mystery thing. And I don't know, it looks kind of fun. I know it got a lot of raves out of I think it was South by Southwest. It was either that or Sundance earlier this year. What do you think about this one?
I will watch it. It doesn't look amazing to me. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, look, it looks like Spring Breakers, right? Like if there was a horror
sure.
version of Spring Breakers. And then the other ones I put, obviously Scream, because it's this whole idea of the meta. Oh, we're playing a game. Now there's a real murderer type thing. Not that Scream is a
Sure.
game, but that. Then I figured, like, let me go deep in there. It's like a single location kind of like who's the murderer amongst friends type thing. Do you ever see Baghead, the Duplass brothers movie with Greta Gerwig back in the day?
Yeah, I haven't seen that in forever, but yeah, I definitely saw that back when it had first come out.
So those were
It's
mine,
a good
Dave.
one.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, those are good ones. I of course had Knives Out talking about like modern murder
Sure.
mystery type movies. Also, Game Night, which is a really fun comedy, and starts out with a game and ends up going all over the place crazy. Uh, the last one that I had is a movie I'd never even seen, but it just felt like it connected. Was it called Project X? I believe it was like a crazy over the top party movie that at the moment felt like it was like capturing like young people in a way
Mm,
that hadn't really been done before. And I feel like this kind of has that energy too.
yeah, I get that. I mean, I guess that kind of matches the Spring Breakers piece, right? As to
Sure.
that type of thing.
Absolutely. Next up is on Hulu, also August 5th. We all wish it was in theaters, but it's not. It's Prey, which is a prequel to The Predator, directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who did 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I love and bring up all the time on this show. It's set in the 1700s, where a Comanche warrior played by Amber Midthunder has to deal with the Predator. It looks awesome to me. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, it looks great, and I gotta just say, like, I'm really happy that we have so much a variety of Native American based content coming out, right? You know, where we're
Sure.
telling different types of stories, reservation dogs, and I just watched Dark Winds on AMC Plus, which I highly recommend. I'm actually in the middle of workshopping a play with a playwright out of Philadelphia, and it's a native based play, and like it's kind of like a
Hmm.
real honor that they cast me to kind of do this. I'm learning a lot, and I just think like this is where a lot of storytelling is going, where we get to learn about cultures in a mainstream way. You know, like this is a
Sure.
mainstream movie,
Sure.
but we're like, hey, this is a way to bring people in. So, um, Cloverfield totally, if it wasn't from 10 Cloverfield Lane, this looks like a Cloverfield style thing.
Right.
Um,
Sure.
I think of like I know these aren't good, but like all those Blair Witch like prequels because we started in like the present and then we moved back to the past in them and everything. So,
Uh huh.
those were kind of the ones that popped off at the top of my head. What do you got, Dave?
Well, I've got, speaking of that, like, authentic portrayal of different cultures in a big giant action movie, I thought of Mel Gibson's Apocalypto, which is just, so just raw and gritty, and also the kind of movie where a lot of violence is taking place. So I thought of that. Also, First Blood. It seems like they're going to be setting up all kinds of traps to hunt this predator, and the predator's setting up traps to hunt them, and so like there's going to be all that kind of violence going on. So those were the two that I had, but yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this.
I'll throw one more out just because of this kind of idea of hunters and trying to do something from a culture we might not be as aware of. How about the Northman from this year? Different style, but it makes sense as a piece, I
Sure.
think. So
Yeah, absolutely. And that ultra violence and all that. Yeah. Yeah, should be good. Wish I was watching it in the theater, but I'll watch it at home. It is what it is. Next up is Resurrections, September 5th on VOD and limited release in theaters. Stars Rebecca Hall and Tim Roth. It's about a woman who thinks this guy is following her, and it seems like he's not, but maybe he is, and I'm really not quite sure. The trailer kind of plays things close to the vest, but it looks weird, and I think it looks pretty damn good.
it looks awesome. I What I got out of it was that she had done something to him in the past and that
Hmm.
now he's back all these years later. But yeah, it looks great. Actually, Scarlett, my daughter, was watching these previews with me this morning when I was prepping, and she's like, can I watch this one? And I was like, no, but they
I
got
don't
her
think so.
hooked. So
Yeah,
yeah, I was thinking about if in that regard, the idea of someone who is coming back from a whatever, like a crime maybe they couldn't have been prosecuted on or were prosecuted on. Double Jeopardy, the old Ashley Judd movie, right? And
sure.
then this idea of someone knowing something about you that no one else believes. It brought me back. I think we've probably mentioned this a few times. Side Effects, the Soderbergh movie, and that Jude Law character just knew the whole time that something wasn't on the level. But
Hmm.
this feels eerie and tonally like really interesting. I think, yeah, I'm super excited for this movie.
Yeah, me too. The first things that came to mind, of course, and I feel like this looks like a much better version, but those movies like The Woman in the Window and The Girl on the Train, all of those like is she or isn't she crazy thrillers, usually, based on best-selling novels, it seems like every time. Those movies are kind of like a genre into their own, and this just seems like such a better version of that. The other thing I thought of, and maybe this is way off base, but again, a recent movie, probably too recent to actually be an inspiration here, but Alex Garland's Men from this year, where all the men in this woman's world are just kind of like weird and off, and just not sure if there's like gaslighting going on or like what exactly is happening. And so yeah, like I said, there's just so much being shrouded in mystery here that it's hard to like get a full grasp on what's happening. But I've heard lots of great things about this movie, and Rebecca Hall and Tim Roth are both so good. So
Dave, just talking about it, I'll give you another one that just came up that I think of this, because you brought it up. This, like, is she crazy? Isn't she? What's going on? How about and I didn't think it delivered as much as I would have liked to, but last year, The Lost Daughter with Olivia Colman and Dakota Johnson. I think you liked that one more than I did.
yeah, I loved The Lost Daughter. I thought it was great, and yeah, that definitely like fits in there. I think that would be another great one to include. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
We got a lot to do on August 5th, Dave.
I know. August 5th is I'm telling you, it's a crazy day. And I didn't even include all the August 5th releases on here, although our next one is another one. But yeah, it's crazy. There's so much coming on August 5th. That next one is I Love My Dad with Patton Oswalt and James Morosini, who also wrote and directed, also Lil Ray Howard, about a dad who accidentally catfishes his son. It looks kind of ridiculous, but fun. What do you think?
I don't think he accidentally does it. It seems like he does it on purpose to try to.
Oh, does he?
Kind of reclaim a relationship with him, because seems like the dad has no boundaries and the son blocks him. So he's like, oh, this is how I'm gonna, just at least this way I can talk to him. So it's an innocent, like, he thinks of it as an innocent way to talk to him, and then of course the son falls in love with the catfish and everything like that.
Sure. Okay.
So what do you know about James Morosini? What do we know?
I don't know anything about him. No, yeah. I don't know anything about it. I think it's his first feature, but
I don't either. But look, this felt very Bobcat Goldthwait to me, So
oh yeah, I could see
I
that.
think you could throw all his movies. I put World's Greatest Dad on there.
Yeah.
The idea of a dad kind of taking advantage of a relationship and figuring out how to get what he wants out of his relationship with his son. And then I know this isn't really a tonal fit, but I always remember the reveal of Up in the Air when George Clooney finally finds out about Vera Farmiga's other life, or Miga's other life. And this felt like this is obviously going to happen in this movie. There's going to be a reckoning. So those were my pieces. And obviously, catfish is now a term in the pop cultural lexicon. So there you go. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Catfish is whether it's the show, the movie, or just the term itself. It's it's a part of the culture now. So that is there. I thought of instead of a mother-daughter, we got a father-son here, but I thought of Lady Bird as that just awkward relationship between parent and their kid, and trying to bridge that gap and the generational divide between the two and all that. And then, last month we covered, or maybe it was a couple months ago, we had covered that My Fake Boyfriend movie. And we just talked about a whole bunch of movies where, online based relationships get out of hand, the Proposal, Mainstream, Her, various other things that, use that whole online relationship, and things go crazy because of it, and because of people not being, real with each other about who they are in real life.
I mean, we can go back to like classic tales like Cyrano and stuff like that, right? Where someone is helping someone create a new personality to woo another a person,
Sure.
right? So you got all that, Dave. As we record in 2 days, I'm going up to Reno for the Cordillera International Film Festival, which I love. You and I have both had work in there before, and the opening night movie is this on Thursday night, and I can't get there till Friday, so I'm going to miss it, which is a bummer.
You bastard. You should be watching this movie there.
I want to watch the movie. I have to work,
You'll have to watch it with the rest of us when you get back.
Dave, I would love to do it, but I have to be hosting the trivia party at the Doghouse in Resorts World every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Come on out.
Perfect plug.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the other movie that I'm looking forward to the most this month. It is Beast, coming August 19th to theaters with Idris Elba against a giant lion. Also stars Charlotte Copley. The director previously did Everest. I just think this movie looks so much fun.
I don't know if I'm going to agree with all that, but I mean, hey, let's give it a shot, right? So, I mean, look, we look, take your pick, King Kong, The
Mm-hmm.
Meg, Jaws, any of
Mm-hmm.
these, major. We have to fight this kind of crazy animal, Jurassic Park, because it's in this kind of um, remote setting. And then, Sharto, whose name I clearly can't pronounce, District 9, I put in there too, because that there were some things they were up to
Man
as
vs.
well.
Alien.
Right. So, they could
Yeah,
put that in
sure.
Prey also, right? So, uh,
Absolutely.
so there's a lot of familiar stuff, but I hope it's as fun as you think it is going to be.
I'm so excited. I mean, the movies you mentioned, aside from the Meg, of course, but I mean, they're all awesome, And yeah, of course, I had Jurassic Park on my list. I threw Apocalypto in here again. I also had, various man versus bear movies, The Bear, The Edge, stuff like that, and The Gray with Liam Neeson against wolves. Yeah, just all these man versus nature and man versus animal, and I just think the lion just looks so awesome, and Idris Elba's great. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. And also the same day, August 19th, limited theaters, but also on Paramount Plus, I believe. Orphan First Kill, which is a just ridiculous prequel to a sleeper cult classic horror film, Orphan, about a little girl who's actually a crazy adult psycho escaped from a mental institution. Did you see the original Orphan, Jason?
Oh my God. Is that what that last one's about, or this one's about?
That's what the last one's about, and this is a prequel to that. So now she's even
Whoa.
younger. Yeah.
That sounds wild, dog. Uh,
Yeah, it's actually a pretty fun movie, that first
oh
one.
my goodness. And
So
this has Julia Stiles, so hooray. So,
yeah. Yeah. Julia Stiles as the mom this time. So
wow.
yeah, what'd you think about this trailer?
I mean, I'm not going to get sucked in on these horror trailers because I feel like they've perfected making these trailers look so good, right? Like I thought the Firestarter trailer looked like was great, right? And then everyone's like, "This is
Sure.
the worst movie that's ever been made." So
Yeah.
I'm just over these, But I mean, it looks they did a good job. The trailer looks good. It looks like it could be a cool movie, right? So
Yeah. By the way, speaking of which, the director, from what I understand, has done nothing but just like straight to video horror trash, and so yeah, there's kind of not a lot of reason to get excited about this, except for the fact that it's such a ridiculous premise. That's the only reason
yeah,
why I kind of want to see it.
yeah, that's wild, man. That kind of reminds me of I didn't know that was all about that but they made that it was a documentary on HBO and then that limited series with Joey King on Hulu.
Yes, the Act, is that what it was called? The Hulu series of it.
Yeah, so that Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Dee Dee Blanchard story. I didn't watch the act, although it got good reviews, but because I really liked the documentary "Mommy Dead and Dearest" that I saw on
Mm-hmm.
HBO, but it's now over at Hulu, and so I mean that kind of world, and then the Clint Eastwood movie, The Changeling, where like, hey, we're bringing back your son, and it's not really your son. And also, speaking of
Right.
that, did you ever see the documentary The Imposter?
No, I had seen that other one we were just talking about, but no, I haven't seen The Imposter.
Man, that's wild. You should check that out. There's a lot of elements, literally, of what you were talking about of an older person playing a younger person, and like the family just like, you're our son now, and so all that stuff. The Good Son, Macaulay Culkin. You go, Dave.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, speaking of the good son, I had We Need to Talk About Kevin, but yeah, all
Oh my
those like,
god.
killer crazy kid movies, So, and then the other piece I had, like I said, in the original, she's playing a kid who's, actually an adult, and now she's playing even younger. So I had Wet Hot American Summer First Day of Camp, where the actors are all older, but now playing even younger than they were in the
I'm
originals.
sure
So
that was the inspiration for this.
yes, absolutely. Next up is Samaritan, which we just made it. The trailer was dropped this morning. I was hoping we'd be able to include this on our list. It'll be in limited theaters and on Prime on August 26th. And it's Sylvester Stallone as a superhero. He's this old superhero that everyone thinks died, but he's just been in hiding, ignoring his powers for years. I don't know. It looks cheap, but I don't know. It's Stallone. What do you think?
When I saw the preview before I knew that he was a superhero because I didn't know anything about it, and he just like threw all these kids around, like I was like, yes, fantastic. And then they're like, oh, he's a superhero, and I'm like, ugh, I don't care anymore. So, he's this old beaten up superhero in hiding. It's Logan, right? Which we talk about
Sure.
every month, and then he's a garbage man. So I picked the Adrian Brody movie Clean, where he's a garbage man and he's got these abilities that people don't really know about. And also, this kind of superhero, young kid, urban setting reminded me a little of Shazam, even though the tone is totally different.
Yeah, totally different tone. But yeah, for sure, with that kind of setting. I had Unbreakable on my list. That was the first thing I thought of when the poster was revealed. Just this older superhero in a hoodie, just kind of like making his way through the alleys and not letting anybody recognize him. I feel like maybe it is Logan that I'm thinking of, but I feel like there is some superhero movie where the guy's like kind of giving up his powers and a kid has to talk him into getting back to it. But I feel like there's something other than Logan. But that was something I was trying to think of. The other one I had, and this is like not even really a puzzle piece, but Stallone was the voice of King Shark in the Suicide Squad and was like the best part of that. And so it's like, let's give him an actual superhero movie. So, the inspiration for actually throwing him into a superhero movie would be that.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, I'm not here to recommend Clean because I thought it was like but it definitely there's a lot of elements that feel familiar other than the superhero part of it.
Actually, I just thought of another one. Speaking of Clean, The Equalizer. Not a superhero, but also just like a guy with like a kind of blue collar job who is just a total over the top badass.
Not the TV show with Queen Latifah.
Haven't seen the TV show with Queen Latifah. Is it good, Jason?
Well, Dave, the thing is, before she gets involved, things are not equal, right? And then when she gets
Sure.
involved, things get very equal across the board because
Thank you for that.
she's the
Yeah.
equalizer.
That she is. That she is. Good. I'm glad we're covering all our bases here. So our last movie for the month is 3,000 Years of Longing. It'll be in theaters August 31st. It is George Miller's first movie since Mad Max Fury Road. So film nerds everywhere are going to be going nuts for this. Stars Idris Elba and a whole bunch of other people. It's a genie movie, but who knows what else is going on here. It looks absolutely weird and over the top and crazy. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, man, it's George Miller. I'm gonna nerd out on it. It's the design looks crazy. I don't know if the story will be there, but like when I think of George Miller, I'm like, I get it. We all love like the Mad Max stuff, and Fury Road is amazing and everything. But like, can we talk about Babe 2, Lost in the City, and how amazing he did with that material,
Sure.
right? And how awesome it
Yeah.
looks, and how good of a sequel it is. So like something like this, which is like whimsical and different, like this dude's gonna crush it because he's George Miller.
Absolutely. There's no reason to not be excited for it.
Right. And again, kind of like when we talked about Bullet Train, and it felt like I was getting more impressions of like other filmmakers as opposed to movies per se. Like it's easy, but we're in the middle of the 1992 season of awesome movie year. It would be easy for me to say Aladdin, which was the box office
Yeah,
champion, right? But this,
sure.
I think this has more like Terry Gilliam style stuff where we
Sure.
covered Baron Munchausen, and obviously Baz Luhrmann's on fire again right now. Elvis is doing pretty well for itself, so I think it's got a lot of that kind of like period style audacity and pomp that you might find in a Moulin Rouge, and it's just come on, let's go. It's George Miller, man.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm excited for it. By the way, I finally did get around to Elvis and really loved that. So go Baz Luhrmann. But yeah, I basically had the same pieces: Aladdin and Terry Gilliam. A lot of Terry Gilliam. Imaginarium of Dr.
Gilliam,
Parnassus.
Gilliam.
Gilliam. Sorry.
That's okay. Don't apologize, Dave. We all make
I'm,
mistakes, which
I'm
is what
sorry,
I told
Jason.
your dad the last time he flashed me. Never mind. Just turned him on more.
Okay, Jason. What else? There's plenty of other movies coming out this month. Are there any that you wanted to kind of shout out before we
Yeah,
wrap it up?
I'm glad you asked that because I was gonna ask you the same thing. The one that stood out to me, if I was gonna pick one other one, is Emily the Criminal with
Sure.
Aubrey Plaza, and this kind of thing where she's, just a woman trying to get by who gets wrapped up in this like criminal underworld, and then something obviously goes awry, and then it's like a revenge thing. I don't know where it's all gonna go, but like man, it looks pretty dark and drastic. And we know Aubrey Plaza brings it. That's the one I really got excited about.
Yeah, I agree. I wrote down here Aubrey Plaza breaks bad. That's what I
Yeah.
wrote on my notes. So that's basically
So was there any other one?
the only other one that I was going to mention, although like I said, there's plenty, but They/Them on Peacock, August 5th, which looks like a really fun, like old school slasher, except for it's set at a gay conversion therapy camp, which is a really, I think, interesting choice. And it stars Kevin Bacon as the main counselor and like head of the camp, and I mean it looks great, and I just love the title They/Them as a great play on words.
Yeah, and that's going right to Peacock. Emily the Criminal's going limited theaters, but They/Them obviously like it's a nice full circle thing for Kevin Bacon with Friday the 13th and everything.
Sure,
So
absolutely.
yeah, and little it was all right. There was. Do you ever see The Miseducation of Cameron Post? That movie was all right about
I didn't see it. No, I remember that year there was that and Boy Erased. I think we're both the exact same year, like months apart, like one of those situations Hollywood does every once in a while. But
Yeah. I mean, there's about five others that we didn't talk about. It looks like a strong month. I hope so, because July we I could tell you love movies, but you were not into July, Dave.
I was at home watching 80s action movies, which was very exciting and very fun. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot this month. Jason, what do you have going on with your comedy and what's going on Awesome Movie Year?
Well, yeah, we'll start with Awesome Movie Year. Thank you, everybody. We crossed 20,000 downloads. Is that good, Dave?
That's very good. It is. You should be
Yeah.
very proud of that. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, as I said, we're in the middle of 92, and I think this is the season we're all so excited about. And what we're finding is maybe we were right to be excited about some things, but other things just haven't held up the way that we wanted to. But we're getting into the meat of the season. By the time this drops, Dave, I'm super excited because our foreign film coming up is Man Bites Dog, which I know you've never seen, and man, I'm
Yeah.
just so pumped for you to see that. So
I'm
that's what's
excited.
going on Awesome Movie Year. You know where to find us. You know where to find me on social. It's at Jason Harris Comedy. I'm doing stand up all over the city. We're already sold out my new venture, Eat This Comedy, where I team up with restaurants. We do a specialty menu and then a comedy show in the restaurant. Our next one is at Honey Salt on August 21st. We've sold out of tickets. Maybe they'll drop a few more, but just follow me on Jason Harris Comedy to find that. And then, of course, trivia every Tuesday at Craft House, which Dave, we were standing room only last night. I think you would love it. I'm waiting for you to get down there. And then Thursday at the Dog House, if you want to be on the strip and check out something a little more action oriented.
Awesome. And yes, I will be at those soon. I was all ready to go and then got the COVID last month, but I'm back to life now, so it'll happen very soon for sure.
That's good.
And hopefully we'll get you back for one of these August movies, Jason. And otherwise, I will be talking to you again soon.
Wow, Dave, I'm so excited about that.
Hey guys, this is David, and I wanted to tell you about Newsly. It's an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. And what it does is really cool because, I don't know, if you're like me, I don't have a lot of time for just sitting around and reading stuff. I'm always either driving or doing something, and just to like sit down and read, it's like, who has time for that? And so with Newsly, you could basically turn any web article into kind of like a podcast, and it reads the article in a natural human voice from basically anything on the internet, anything on the web. And this way, you don't have to sit there reading and scrolling. You can listen to it just like you would a podcast. And it's got podcasts too. Piecing It Together is on there. But then you could also find articles from all kinds of topics, from, entertainment and movies to sports and tech and business, science, all that kind of stuff. So really, if it's out there on the web, you can find it and you can listen to it. And I've been using it as my default podcast app, and you can too. And you can download Newsly right now for free from newsly.me. Check out the link in the show notes. It's available, like I said, on Android and iOS in the App Store and the Play Store. And there's a premium version available, and my listeners can get a 1-month free premium subscription by using the promo code PIECINGIT, but all of the I's are ones. So that's P1EC1NG1T. Piecing It, but all of the I's are ones. And I've got that in the show notes too. If you're like me, out driving around listening to stuff, and you can't pull over right now, you can check it in the show notes and find that promo code and get that free 1-month premium subscription to Newsly. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation about some of the movies that are coming out in August. Thanks, as always, to Jason Harris for joining me for these trailer episodes. And thank you to all of you for listening. And for those of you who send in your listener puzzle pieces, thank you too. Hopefully we'll continue doing that every month. Just keep sending them in, and I'll keep doing it. And while you're at it, make sure you're subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts. If you like what we do, drop that 5-star rating, whether that's on Good Pods or Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If there's a 5-star button and maybe a little space for a review, we would appreciate if you did that. And of course, make sure you're following us on social media and all that stuff at Piecing Pod on all the socials, and our Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where we continue the conversation about all the movies we talk about here on the show. Last but not least, we do have our Produced by David Rosen Patreon, where you can find bonus and advanced content from Piecing It Together, Awesome Movie Year, and from my music career. So that's patreon.com/bydavidrosen. There's a few episodes of Piecing It Together waiting in there right now for a proper release date on the main feed, so you can check those out early. We got Jurassic World Dominion, we've got Crimes of the Future, and Men. Is there another one? There might be even another one. I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, there's also my new single, Antiviral, which at the time that this goes up, the music video just came out. It's a really cool video that I made with the service called Rotor. It's my first time using it, and it lets you pick and choose from all kinds of video clips and effects, and then it just uses AI to create a music video. It's pretty cool. It's the first time I've ever done this for one of my songs. But the single comes out August 8th on all the streaming services. And then the album is almost done, but will be out later this year. I'm guessing probably like November, December, but we'll see. It's almost there. But that is coming soon. The new album, the new song will be out any day now at the time this goes up. The new video is out now. And you know what? August trailers is the time to preview what's coming in August. Let's play the new song. How about that? This is Antiviral. Like I said, it'll be on all the streaming services this coming week. And I hope you enjoy it. And we'll be back with more Piecing It Together real soon.
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.